when the right people come together at the right moment, when they care almost as much about winning as they do about each other, they can become the best of the best.
Welcome to the best soccer show, the best soccer show in the whole world.
Here we go! It's the best soccer show. Jason Davis. Just Jason Davis. All by myself on a Thursday. Missing my partner in crime, Jared Dubois. He's got work or something. Like, what? Can't be here to do your show with your guy? You got to be working and, like, providing for your family? How terrible is that?
Jay Rodius.
I mean, why wouldn't you want to be here instead of with your job? I don't know. Anyway, we are live. I am live here on a Thursday night in the usual spot for the best soccer show. I'm going to try to give you guys something good tonight, something we can all enjoy together. Obviously, the comments are going to be a big part of the show tonight because I need your help to make this good. It's not going to be me and Jared. It's going to be me and you guys. And I know there are some questions. I asked the besties for a bunch of questions in our Patreon Slack today. And it gives me, hey, look at that. It gives me an opportunity to say, join the Patreon, get bonus stuff. Patreon.com/thebestsoccershow. If you want to join the Patreon, become a bestie. I asked the besties for some questions for today's show. And a lot of them obviously have to do with the U.S. men's national team. We're getting ready for the first window, the first camp under Mauricio Pochettino as head coach of the U.S. men's national team. And people are rightfully excited about that. And it's leading to a lot of this, okay, who's going to get a chance to shine under Pochettino who maybe didn't get a chance to play under Greg Berhalter or didn't get much of a chance with Greg Berhalter's leadership. And I think there's something interesting there. And I've got a couple ideas. Now, you know, one of the things we obviously can do as soccer people is try to connect some dots. So you go back and you think, all right, Mauricio Pochettino, he was the manager of Espanyol. He was the manager of Southampton. He was the manager of obviously Tottenham, PSG, Chelsea, and now the U.S. men's national team. And the way those teams played could, should, would inform how the U.S. men's national team is likely to play under Mauricio Pochettino. But I saw the word system today. I'm not picking on anybody because somebody said who might thrive or who might be a better fit for Pochettino's system than some of the guys that Berhalter leaned on. Like, who would be primed to get a better chance to play for the national team because Pochettino has a system that would be a better fit for that player? And I think there's something to that. But I also think that it's probably it's more right to say, instead of system, we can say concepts, right? I'm getting in the weeds here on definitions, but this is the nature of our game. This is the nature of soccer, that this is a game that is sort of difficult to pin down, right? Because there are no static positions to begin any movement in the game of soccer, very rarely, outside of set pieces, right? And that's why they're called set pieces, because you get to start from zero and send guys all over the place, right? Because this game does not start from static positions, it gets difficult. There's a lot of dynamic things happening. But we know some things that Mauricio Pochettino likes to do. And we can list them off, right? We can kind of throw them under the grand tent that is Mauricio Pochettino's concepts, his ideas, the things he cares about as a coach. One of them being, generally speaking, building from the back. Now, whether this U.S. men's national team has the capability to build out from the back remains to be seen. We've seen Berhalter lean into that heavily and it go horrifically wrong. We've seen moments where the U.S. men's national team has been okay at it. Some of that depends on having a goalkeeper who is good with his feet, if we're going to go all the way back to the beginning. And I don't think we have one of those. At least not one that's in the team as a starter. Now, maybe that means Patrick Schulte or somebody else gets an opportunity to play instead of Matt Turner. I mean, maybe Zach Steffen, who, for all the times that he frustrated us by being casual with the ball, I mean, Zach Steffen's attitude with the ball was always like, yeah, I'm basically an outfield player, bro. Like, look how good I am with my feet. Like, I went to City. I played under Pep, okay? Like, I know what I'm doing with the ball at my feet. And, of course, he would then make a horrible mistake occasionally, and we all go, what are you doing, Zach? Why are you playing that way? Now, he's moved to Major League Soccer. He's having a good season with Colorado. He probably still is among the best options for the U.S. men's national team at goalkeeper if you're talking about players who can do things with the ball at his feet. Now, that's just one concept, though, right? And will Mauricio Pochettino prioritize that particular concept when it comes to the U.S. men's national team? Or will he be more pragmatic? And, of course, this is dependent on opponent in some cases. Are you willing to commit to building out of the back against a team that maybe is effective with the press in your defensive half? Maybe a team that will take advantage of any potential mistake and make you pay for it, right? And certainly you level the playing field if you make a lot of mistakes against opponents in CONCACAF. And we don't yet know what Mauricio Pochettino thinks of his CONCACAF opponents, right? And this particular window that we have here with the game against Panama and the game against Mexico coming up, of course, the second one being in Guadalajara, maybe that'll give us a sense, right? At least the United States is playing against the best opposition in CONCACAF that you can get in terms of Mexico. And I know Mexico's not great, and maybe Canada's better. Did you guys see that Jonathan David? I actually haven't watched the video, and that's my bad. I'm going to have to say, I'm going to have to ask for some forgiveness from my man Hercules Gomez. Hercules Gomez, who had Jonathan David on his podcast. Was it a podcast? And Jonathan David was talking up Canada. Of course he would. Jonathan David saying Canada's the best team in CONCACAF. I get it. But, again, if you're going to play against a CONCACAF team, I would rather play Mexico. I'd rather have Mauricio Pochettino get introduced to CONCACAF through a team like Mexico than through a team like Canada, because what is Mexico going to try to do? They're going to try to keep the ball. They're going to try to use the ball, right, in a much, much more direct kind of way than Canada will. When Canada gets the ball, they will be direct, but the point is, and Jesse Marsch has changed them a little bit. Obviously, they're more press-heavy than they used to be under John Herdman. I think that's a fair statement. That's obviously getting in the weeds on opponents. But we're talking about building out of the back. We're talking about how you use different positions certainly in your build-up, certainly in your attack. Now, Pochettino, I think, is pretty standard to most managers now, in the sense that you're going to defend pretty standard 4-4-2, 4-1-4-1 kind of vibes, right? You're going to try to close down those passing lanes. If you are on the front foot, and certainly Pochettino's an attacking-minded coach, right? We're talking about sort of a branch off of all the Bielsa trees that we've been seeing, right? And the standard, it's very standard now. I hate to minimize it. I'm not trying to make it like it's not a specific kind of approach, but now it's become so popular that it's almost difficult. You're talking about shades of gray rather than sort of black and white concepts, right? Again, how much press is involved? How much press do we expect Mauricio Pochettino to use? And again, who might benefit from a manager who wants to press? And in what ways do you press? Where do you press? When do you press? If you're building out of the back and you're pushing numbers forward, the press is meant to recover the ball when you turn it over in your opponent's half, right? You want to take the attacking players that you already have in your opponent's half, and you want to press the ball to recover it there. And hopefully you have players then in position to turn that into attack. And I think very much like most of the variations on this theme, you want to take the ball and you want to be direct, right? You want to see. Okay, I'm going to respond to a comment. Clayton said, you were the one who I heard say Poach was connected to Bielsa, but I couldn't find anywhere to back that up. I don't know if I ever said that, Clayton. Maybe I did. If I did, I don't think I was speaking of that Pochettino learned at the, learned from Bielsa. What I'm saying is Marcelo Bielsa is the most influential South American coach of the last 30 years in world football. So, of course, anybody who has anything in common with him, and many who don't, are going to be influenced by him. That's all I mean by that. And Bielsa takes the pressing and all of those things to an extreme that most managers don't follow. Right? I think that's fair to say that Bielsa's ideas about pressing are different than what has become standard in the way the press is used. Marcelo Bielsa is, he is, I'm trying to think of the word, a zealot. Marcelo Bielsa is a zealot. Mauricio Pochettino is not a zealot about pressing. Pressing is just one tool to use in the grander scheme. And so anyway, the whole point about this conversation, because I want to have some fun tonight, I want to do some other things. I mean, Jared's not here, but still we're going to have some fun. I mentioned in the Slack, on the Bestie Slack today, that this was kind of going to be an Old Dad FC. And for those of you who don't know, maybe you're new to the Best Soccer Show, I haven't mentioned it in a while. Old Dad FC is basically just my way of creating a little club out of the fact that there are lots of people who have children, and then, you know, at an age where, you know, my parents didn't have kids at my age. They weren't starting. I don't know, how do I say this? They didn't have little ones at my age. That's what I meant to say. It all came tumbling out there too. Right? That I have a 3-year-old son, Tiago. Tiago's amazing. The light of my life. No, Tiago's awesome. He's great. He's probably going to play a lot of soccer. So that's coming. With a name like Tiago, you kind of have to. But Old Dad FC, for me, my birthday is a week from today. No guesses. Well, actually, go ahead. Guess how old I will be on a week from today. Go ahead, guys. Go ahead and guess. Anyway, that's the Old Dad FC vibe tonight. And I have something special with Old Dad FC that I want to get to a little bit later. All right, so again, let's talk about some players who you guys think might get an opportunity under Pochettino that they weren't getting, and maybe more of an opportunity if they've already been in the mix. So, for example, I think, and it wasn't obviously Berhalter, it was Mikey Barris in an interim role, but it seems pretty clear that Marlon Fossey deserves another look, deserves more time in the national team picture to see if he can cut it, to see if he's one of the guys. And we're going to be waiting for Sergiño Dest to get back on the field. But I think what we've seen, and this is certainly something, if you want to tie it to Pochettino and his mentality, that for all the stability that Joe Scally brought to that position defensively, he gives you almost nothing going forward, or certainly not enough for a modern coach who wants to use his fullbacks in the attack. So why wouldn't we expect somebody like Marlon Fossey to get more of a chance under a coach who does want to use his fullbacks that way? Now, I also think it's fair to say that Berhalter wanted to use his fullbacks that way and did on a regular basis. When you have Anthony Robinson on one side and Sergiño Dest on the other, you can do that. But there were times, there were moments, and there were certainly injuries that affected whether those guys could be on the field. I think Marlon Fossey as an attacking fullback is certainly more attractive to a coach like Pochettino than maybe Joe Scally is. And I'm not trying to say Joe Scally's a bad player, and he probably will still have a spot in the national team picture. I just don't think he's going to be the first choice if a guy like Fossey can prove, and we don't have much of a book on Fossey, right? We've got one game against New Zealand. Like, whoa, sample size, opponent, consider all those things. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, right? And this is another thing about talking about Pochettino's influence on the team and the player pool. Pochettino may look at some players who weren't part of the picture under Berhalter just to put his stamp on the team, just to kind of open up things again, to refresh the program. I think that's certainly possible. All of that is possible. But I think that we are largely going to see a lot of players who were already significantly in the picture under Berhalter. And Berhalter capped more players than any coach in U.S. men's national team history. So, and some of them weren't kind of back in the picture at the end. A lot of them had drifted away. But that's, I think, in large part because they probably weren't good enough. Now, I saw Thomas say Brendan Aronson could take a more prominent role under Pochettino. Obviously, Brendan Aronson brings pressing ability to the table. The energy level he has, I think, is going to be attractive to Pochettino. I think Thomas is right about that part. Now, prominence is obviously in the eye of the beholder, because I don't think Brendan Aronson should be a starter on this team, even if he's got some skills that or some traits that Pochettino enjoys or wants to see in his team. Right? I think Brendan Aronson is a nice bench player for the U.S. men's national team, and I think he needs to remain that for the most part in the most important games. There may be games where starting him or giving him an opportunity from the outset makes sense, but I'm not sure that that's a guy that's suddenly going to become a starter. And there's maybe this too. KY saying, I think Aronson is on the cusp of not being on the team. He might be the one that Poach makes an example out of. I think Aronson has actually maybe improved his stock just a little bit, but I don't know that that's enough, right? And some of this is the form is a factor in this, and it's really hard to know exactly how that's going to play for Pochettino. Right? Will Mauricio Pochettino care more about form than Berhalter did? Can he afford to? Because what I think is interesting about the idea of calling up a bunch of new players or giving a bunch of guys an opportunity, what I think is interesting about that thought is that if he cares about form, if you need to be playing, you need to be starting, or you need to be getting significant minutes, there are lots of guys who are going to miss out or not going to have much of a resume to show Pochettino when he steps into the job in a couple weeks, when he takes his first look at a roster and brings in a bunch of guys, right? And Gio Reyna's on that list. Gio Reyna's injured now. Reports are out that he may be back earlier than expected, so he could make this window that's coming up in 2 weeks, right? Okay, and again, Jason, let's come back to Brendan Aronson. This is a good point. Aronson is getting consistent playing time at Leeds. You can't see that for a lot of our roster right now. That's true, right? So again, Gio Reyna more talented player than Brendan Aronson? Yes, absolutely he is. But if Gio Reyna, even if he was 100% healthy right now, which he's clearly not, if he's sitting on the bench at Dortmund, if he's not getting off the bench at Dortmund, he's not playing, is Pochettino going to still rely on him the same way that Berhalter did once we got past the 2022 World Cup and all of that? I think that's an open question, right? Okay, we can also, obviously we can check off Christian Pulisic, 100% in the team, 100% best player on the team. Right now we're talking about whether the guy is world class. That's a question that's out there. And by the way, on my new show, I should plug my new show, right? On my brand new show, which is Morning Kick Around, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, please go subscribe to the Morning Kick Around channel on YouTube. I've been pushing it here on the Best Soccer Show channel on YouTube. But if you want to follow that show, if you want to watch that show on a Monday or Wednesday or a Friday, or just go back and watch some videos, or just want to help me out, you can always go and subscribe to the Morning Kick Around. We asked that question. We addressed the issue of Pulisic being world class. I know that's going around. Everybody's doing it now, or everybody was doing it. I'm not sure if we were the first. But that's clearly not a problem. Right? You have a very, very good winger, attacking player who needs to be in this team. Whether or not Pulisic plays on the left, where he's traditionally played for the United States, which involves cutting inside, something that Pochettino certainly has used in the past, a wide attacking player who pushes inside, leaving space for the fullback, leaving space for overlapping runs and overloading in that way. Again, pretty standard these days. Or Pulisic plays on the right, where he plays with Milan. That's an open question. I think that the reason we've always seen Pulisic play on the left is, number one, cutting inside is kind of the way of things now on that right foot, but also because there are more options on the right side for the United States than there are on the left side. Right? So that's one question that's still up in the air that I think we're all, and this is more about anticipation than it is about like, oh, I'm worried about this. I don't think this is anything to be worried about. I'm more fascinated. I'm kind of laying out the things that I'm like, whoa, what might we see? What things might Pochettino mix up a little bit? Is that possible that he could switch Pulisic? Is it possible that he might turn to a Brendan Aronson, as mentioned in the chat? Right? I'm actually wondering, in terms of the striker situation, right? Now I've gone from goalkeeper, we've gone to striker, we haven't really touched the midfield. We'll come to that. In terms of the striker situation, we've got a bunch of pretty weak options. Is that fair to say? Is anybody enthusiastic about our striker options right now? I mean, we got so ramped up for Fowler and Balogun to commit to the United States. Everybody thought he was going to be the answer. And while I still think he's a talented player, a pretty good player, he hasn't become the guy we all thought he would be quite yet. So, with that in mind, where are the openings? Now, it kind of got established under Berhalter in that second stint that Balogun was going to be the number one. Ricardo Pepi was going to be the backup. Right? We've seen Haji Wright. He can also play wide and did in that last window. Okay. I'm wondering if we are going to see Josh Sargent get another chance. Now, some of that's about injury, right? Josh Sargent missed out not just because Berhalter preferred other options, but because he's been injured, right? So Josh Sargent, to me, feels like a player that Pochettino might be attracted to. He's good with his feet. He's good at bringing his teammates into play. You know, think about the best team that Pochettino had at Spurs, the one he took to a Champions League final. Right? Harry Kane was so important to that team. And we are now seeing if we're going to be watching to see if Pochettino finds a way, because he didn't really have that player at Chelsea, but we're going to see if he finds a way, and he'll adapt to the player pool. That's the exact point I'm making, is he'll probably try to adapt the player pool, but there are going to be places where maybe a swap out of a player or an opportunity for another player can get him closer to what he was doing at some of the best moments of his coaching career. And maybe Josh Sargent is more that guy than a Balogun or than a Pepe, who is, I think, better with his feet than maybe people think, but still not necessarily the kind of player that's going to be as good with his back to goal, bringing in teammates. Finishing is obviously the major concern at striker, but man, it's kind of up in the air exactly what that looks like right now, because there's nobody finishing at a level that demands. I mean, Ricardo Pepi's not playing. I think I saw on X he's like 164 touches on the season or something. Or not even that. I don't even remember what the number was. It was something ridiculous. It was some very tiny number of touches for Ricardo Pepi over there in Holland at PSV Eindhoven. So if he's not playing, if Balogun has not yet really gotten off the mark at Monaco, if we don't have a clear number one striker, then why wouldn't you give Josh Sargent an opportunity? Like, why wouldn't you take a shot at him? So, again, striker is kind of up in the air. I mentioned goalkeeper. Fullback is pretty much what it is, but Malin Fosti could maybe come in as a stand-in for Serginho Dest for the time being until Dest gets back healthy, and then it'd be fascinating to see what Pochettino does with a player like Serginho Dest. Midfield is a little bit of an issue, too. I mean, Weston McKennie is starting again at Juve. Funny how that happens. And I still think he's probably a must-start, if healthy, for the U.S. men's national team. But if you want other players in that midfield, if Gio Reyna's not in form, Gio Reyna, by the way, the issue with Reyna is whether or not he will have the kind of energy that Pochettino wants in that front four, that front six, a player who's going to help you press to win the ball again. And we've seen Gio give nominal attention to defending, but again, considering the injury, the lack of playing time, some of the things that have happened, it's going to be difficult to see him just sort of walking to this team under Pochettino. The bar is raised, right? The bar has been raised for everybody because now there is a coach who has the experience to bring to the table. So not just, hey, these are my best players, but I know what a good player looks like. I know what kind of players I want in my team. I like this one. I want Aiden Morris to get a real opportunity. Yeah, I mean, Aiden Morris, one of the guys who's playing, one of the guys who's impressing, one of the guys who's doing it, whether you rate the championship or not, doing it on a week-to-week basis at a relatively high level. I think that is something to watch for. Doug McIntyre, my boy Dougie Mac, love Dougie Mac. He put together a 14-player list of guys who could get a fresh look. I just want to go through these because I think some of these are interesting. He's got Reggie Cannon on the list. I cannot see that. I like Reggie Cannon as a guy. When I interviewed him, he was always great on the radio. By the way, do you guys know I do a radio show? I'm not sure if you're...
WNBC. WNBC.
But, yeah, Reggie Cannon's probably not coming back into this team. Maximilian Dietz. Okay, Olympic team player. Played in the Olympics for the United States. He's not been in the picture at all. He's 22. Maybe it's time. Greuther Fürth is where he's playing in Germany. Okay. Marlon Fossey, Julian Green. Again, not sure what Dougie Mack is doing there. Don't think Julian Green's coming back to the team. Luca Coglioscio. Luca Coglioscio is the new national panic of the moment, right? Or one of them. Could play for Canada, Nigeria, and Italy along with I don't know what I'm trying to say. 4 different nations for Luca Coglioscio. He could play for any of them. Winger, talented forward player, obviously. I would love to see him. I don't know how much this would be a fresh look because he's only 20. And if it really doesn't matter who's the head coach, if Luca Coglioscio is playing, then he will get an opportunity. Like if he's playing for his club team at Burnley and scoring goals and doing things that are exciting, he'll get a chance. Richie Ledesma's on this list. Now, Richie Ledesma has come back from injury, played in the Champions League for Eindhoven, last week, 2 weeks ago, whatever that was. Started at right back. That's not his position. I want Richie Ledesma to find some success. I find it very difficult to imagine he's suddenly going to be in this team. Diego Luna. Diego Luna wasn't in the Olympic team. Now it's a regime change. So maybe Diego Luna gets fresh eyes on him because of the regime change and they go, okay, he's our guy. I still think he needs to be a little bit more mature. I think obviously he's still growing a bit. He's 21. He's still growing into his role. He's been great at RSL, but it's Major League Soccer. So then you talk about whether or not he's ready to step up to the international level. I think the Olympics would have been a good opportunity for him, and I'm still mad that he didn't get a chance to go. But he's kind of also, I could see him in Pochettino's mind being something of a luxury player. Again, depending on how much you want your forwards to press and win the ball back and do all those things. And it's not that Diego Luna can't do them, but I wonder about maturity at this level. Leonard Maloney. Okay. Solid, right? Solid defensive midfield option. Not sure he's the best, and there are a number of guys in that area. I got Mark McKenzie, who's at Toulouse in France now, and I wonder, he'll might come back in. It obviously was in the picture before. Aiden Morris, Kevin Paredes hasn't played this season in the Bundesliga because he got hurt at the Olympics. I like Kevin Paredes. He's still kind of a one-dimensional player. He's a winger, left back, whatever you want to call him. A good player who still has some growing to do at 21. I mentioned Stefan, John Tolkien. Okay, sure. Right? That Christopher Lund is another left back, by the way, that we should mention here as part of this conversation. And he's been in the picture, and I think there's some real sense, Pochettino coming in or not, that Christopher Lund will still be in this team moving forward. Brendan Vasquez. Now, Brendan Vasquez, solid, good with his head. Obviously, a big body player. Does he have the level of ability to play with the ball that Pochettino would want him? I mean, if you just want a target guy, okay. Now he does have an assist in the season for Monterrey. Get one of those every now and then. And probably I'm being a little unfair to Brendan Vasquez, but that's definitely a player that if he was good enough for this level, because I've seen him score goals, Major League Soccer, now in Mexico. If he was good enough at this level, I think he'd already been in the picture in a significant way. Right? I think, is Pochettino going to suddenly see something in Brendan Vasquez that Berhalter and his staff did not? I think it's a big question. Really this. All right. I want to have some fun here. If you guys want to talk about more players, definitely do that in the chat. But since I'm without Jared, got to fill the void. And of course, as I mentioned, this is sort of an old dad FC. I don't have a logo for old. I was thinking, oh man, I gotta have a logo for Old Dad FC, and I'll shout out the besties again in the bestie Slack. And if you want to be part of that conversation, join the Patreon. It says get bonus stuff, and you will get bonus stuff. But one of the most important bonus things you get is the community that exists with the besties. So a conversation broke out because I mentioned Old Dad FC, and that's me. I'm an old dad. Conversation broke out about what would be the female equivalent. Like if Old Dad FC was partnered with a women's team, what would that team be called? And you can't go Old Mom FC. I don't think that works. It was rightfully said in the chat. You can't go Old Mom FC. So it looks like, and Clayton is giving away the game here, Soccer Mom FC. It's probably Soccer Mom FC. It probably is. And here's a fun fact about your friend Jason. Years ago, I'm not even sure how many. I'd have to do the math. Years ago, as in probably a decade or more, I wrote an entire piece about the origins of the phrase soccer mom, the origins of the label soccer mom. And I did that. This is going to stretch my memory. I should have prepared for this. I did that for one of the best blogs of the day, and now the name is escaping me. I'll come up with it. I think it got picked up and maybe even was nominated for some sort of writing thing. I'm not even saying I'm a good writer anymore. I don't claim that. I don't write as much. In fact, I'm not writing at all right now. If you want to hire me to write, let me know. I'm selling myself really well. I wrote this piece. It was about the phrase soccer mom, where it came from, how it was sort of originally a political thing, right? Do you guys know this? That I'm going back in my memory here to try to remember what the piece even said. But it was about, I think it was one of the Clinton campaigns in the 90s. And it was this, basically like the demographic that was going to win the election was soccer moms. And if I remember correctly, Connor Casey's mom was like heavily involved in this situation. Like Connor Casey's mom was the original soccer mom. I think this is right. I can't seem to find the story anymore. I'd really like you to have it for my credits. So if anybody out there, wants to help me find it, please do. Again, I'm trying to remember exactly where that thing landed. Maybe it's because I'm on the air and I can't remember people that used to be my friends in soccer, and now I can't even remember who they were. But I wrote this piece. So Soccer Mom FC is nice. I don't have any logos for Soccer Mom FC. Maybe we can work on that. Somebody said a minivan. Orange Slices are involved somehow. Wasn't there a podcast called Orange Slices? Didn't For Soccer Ventures do an Orange Slice thing? Anyway, okay. What it reminded me of, though, and we have a little interactive thing I can do. What it reminded me of, though, is that a couple years ago, 3 years ago now, 3.5, when the Best Soccer Show was still part of the For Soccer Ventures family, and some of you know that saga, but some of you don't. We got connected with Robbie Smuckler. Raise your hand if you know who Robbie Smuckler is. Anybody in the chat know who Robbie Smuckler is? 1, 2, waiting to see. Anybody? Am I frozen? Is nobody? Okay. Robbie Smuckler is the guy behind Icarus FC. You guys know Icarus, right? Icarus is everywhere because Robbie's awesome at designing jerseys. Okay, so if you don't know, go look up Robert Smuckler and Icarus. If you don't know Icarus, in fact, I probably have a shirt or two right here next to me on my hangers from Icarus. And I know that Phil and Miketon, my man Mike Thomas, knows Icarus because he did the Zoom jersey you guys had during the pandemic. Is that right? Okay. Maybe I'm talking out of my ass. I have no idea. Anyway, Robert Smuckler and I had some conversations. It never ended up happening, but he was working on designing soccer jerseys for Old Dad FC. Logo and jersey for Old Dad FC. We were actually going to make Old Dad FC jerseys. Okay, so here's the first mock-ups, or here's the ones I want to show you first. So we have this badge, which you can kind of see. I'm not going to zoom in or anything. It's an O and a D and an FC on the outside. I think those are like grilling tools underneath, crossed, like grilling tools like this. You see it? I don't know what it because I said so is at the top of this one, which is brilliant. Come on, guys, how good is that? The badge says "because I said so" for Old Dad FC. This one says "take out the trash." This other one right here, with the red color scheme, says "take out the trash." Come on, that's pretty good too. Take out the trash because I said so. I'm not a. These are obviously stripes, different colors, stripes. I'm not a fan. I think the idea was they were going to be ugly. Like Old Dad FC was going to have an ugly jersey because, dads don't have style, which I kind of take offense to. Like, I feel like I have some decent style, but okay, whatever. But honestly, this was not the best option. The best option, this is good too. Old Dad FC, we're going to be late. Old Dad FC, don't make me turn this car around. Something like that, right? The best option was one that we definitely could not make because we would have been sued. But here it is. This was the one I really wanted to make. It says Old Dad Football Club. If you're listening on the podcast that I'm going to put out from this, I will maybe put the images in the show notes and you can see them. So this says Old Dad Football Club and it's in the Pabst Blue Ribbon logo. Like basically this is just taking the Pabst Blue Ribbon bottle and logo and turning it into a jersey. Guys, is this thumbs up or thumbs down on this? Red sash, Old Dad FC in the middle. Now, obviously, this doesn't look like it's not really a soccer jersey look because it looks like that's the sponsor, and we're not doing any of that. This badge would probably be more on the chest situation. Like this one, I'm wearing a Union Omaha shirt right now, and you can see that. And then obviously the sponsor in the middle. Everybody knows what a soccer jersey looks like. But yeah, this is a good shout from Aaron. These will look great with some jean shorts and white New Balances. Hold on. Are jean shorts really a part of the Old Dad FC uniform? Is that what we're doing? Really? I don't own any jean shorts, so I guess again, I'm not on board. All right, now you guys are just throwing out names. Dynamo Feminine, okay. River Clean Your Plate, okay. That's pretty good. I see khaki shorts from Jason. That sounds more like what I'm talking about. But then there's also like, okay, are we talking cargo? Because my wife won't let me wear. I don't want to. That's not my vibe anymore. But cargo shorts are definitely not a thing that's allowed in my house. So I don't know. I just wanted to show you that. Okay. So how about we do this? Okay. Because again, I'm filling time here, and it's a Thursday night, and Jared's not around, and we've talked about some national team stuff. I kind of want to come up with some logos. Maybe we can. So this is Canva. I pulled up Canva for all the podcast listeners. By the way, Jared hates this when I do a lot of visuals on the show on YouTube because he's like, what about the people listening on the podcast? This is what I'm going to tell you, podcast people. You should watch the show on YouTube. And if you didn't see it live, you can just go to the Best Soccer Show YouTube page and watch it back because it's there for you. Right? Okay. Do that. Please do that. I'm saying please. Nicely, I'm saying please do that. But Canva has an AI option for generating images. Okay, so right here, I can enter a description of what I want, and Canva's AI will produce something. Now, you guys know how AI works so far. Not always great, but I thought we could have some fun with this. So what I need you guys to help me with the description of what I want. What do I tell the AI image generator I need for either the Old Dad FC logo or something Old Dad FC related, or if we're going with Soccer Mom FC or some other version of that, tell me what that description should be. I mean, do it in a way. I'm not going to type in anything that's going to get me in trouble. So don't give me any words that I'm going to get canceled for. Okay, let's not do that. Please. Let's not do that. But what can I write? What can I type in here? I mean, I can always take a shot. Soccer jersey for hot moms, says Connor. Man, okay, all right. You know what? Let's see if we can do this. All right, let me put this back. Okay, Connor. Okay, let's see. I don't know if this is a good idea, but let's do it anyway. Now we also have styles. I think I'm going to go Let's go with anime just because it's the first one. Or I could do no style and see what happens. All right, let's see what we get. Let's see what we get for soccer jersey for hot moms. Connor, you're gonna get me in trouble. This is gonna be bad. If I get kicked off, then we'll know why. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. First one up. This one. That's just a mom-looking person, obviously Caucasian because AI doesn't know that other people exist that aren't Caucasian, wearing a jersey. She's wearing a soccer jersey. She's dressed like she's playing in a game. Let me see if I can. There's got to be a way for me to zoom in. I got to zoom in here. See if we can see this badge. What is that badge? That's like a nothing. This is what I was talking about with the AI. This is like a nothing badge, as far as I can tell. There's nothing there's literally no defining characteristic of the badge, right? All right, I'm going to get rid of this. Let's zoom back out. Let's see. Let's delete the mom in the uniform. What do we got here? This is a team. Okay. These women all look eerily similar to each other. Wow. Are those numbers? Does that say 1J on it? Is that what that is? Like, I know I'm not breaking new ground with like, hey, let's make fun of AI stuff, but what do we got going on here? Another badge that actually doesn't have any defining characteristics. This is vaguely an Adidas logo. I'm not going to get in trouble for that, right? That's vaguely an Adidas logo. And the number 9, kind of. Okay. Again, teeth, pretty busted. AI makes some pretty grotesque people. Let's see. What else we got? This is like somebody tell me what this is called. Yeah. When you paint a mural. This is like a mural with a lot of women. This reminds me of that mural that had like all those American soccer people in it or something or whatever. The athletes. I don't know. Remember that mural Bleacher Report did a couple years ago? Anybody remember that? Okay. So this is just, there's kids in this with very scary, okay. I don't know what is happening there. Oh, man. People are melting. This woman down here is literally melting into somebody else. Okay, this is scaring me. This is what you meant. Right? Somebody said it was terrible. You're right, it's terrible. But I think we need to go back, and I think we need to change. We need to change the description of this, or I need to change the input. So let's see. Soccer team logo for a team. Let's see what aimed. I don't know if that's the right word. Aimed at older men. I'm not older, but older men with young children. Called. I'm gonna put Cold Old Dad FC and see if it can figure out how to do something. I'm gonna say that while I appreciate Canva and everything it does for what I do for a living, it's not good. It's not good. This AI part is not good. Canva is great. This AI part is not good. Let's get rid of the melting women. I'm really tired of them. Oh my God. What do we got here? Okay. This looks, it kind of says old dad, but you couldn't even just reprint old dad. You couldn't even just like take from the description. Is this guy, what's happening with the ball? Now, this is just a old guy's face. It's an old guy's face. It's not terrible. It's not a disaster. What do we got here? If you're not watching the video, you got to watch the video. Yeah, this is okay. This is a guy with a white beard, white hair, glasses, holding 2 small children, one of whom is, of course, melting. His face is melting because why wouldn't it? It's AI. He's also holding a ball. Somehow he's holding a ball and a small child. I don't think you can support the head properly with that look. All right. Let's see what else we got. Old Dad FC. Okay. This guy, is that an animal? There's some animal. Again, unidentifiable because it's AI and it just has weird. There's 2 balls in this, except one of them again is melting and misshapen. Both of them are melting and misshapen. The dad's face, it says old defad. Why does it say old defad? Why can't the AI just take what I said and put it into the logo? I don't understand. Old DeFad is pretty terrible. That's ridiculous. Okay, I'm going to do this one from Mike in a second, but old DeFad with an animal. He's sitting on an animal. He's killed this animal, and now he wants to play some soccer. It's I don't know. I don't know, man. Like, I don't know what's going on here. Okay, I want to do like one or two more, just because I think this is funny. I don't know if I'm the only one, but that's okay. All right, I gotta find where Mike typed something about soccer moms. Okay, let's try this one. Soccer. Oops, I can't type. Soccer team. I got like four keyboards here. Soccer team logo for soccer moms, featuring a minivan. Spell minivan right. That would help. And an over animated mother. Okay, let's try that and see what happens. If this is bad, Mike, Phil and Mike Tin, this is on you. By the way, I can change the style, but I'm gonna just go with what we got here because we haven't done that for old dad. So why would I like make it do anime or something? Because that could be scary. It could be a disaster. What do we got? Anything? Oh, we just got like minivans. Just minivans. Kids, moms, minivans. That person has no legs. Or are his legs her legs? I'm guessing that's a mom. Are her legs the wheel? I don't see. I keep thinking like, oh, if I put the right description in here, it's going to give me something good. And I think that's impossible. Like none of these are. Again, this is another person who's melted into the car or the van. That's not even a minivan. That's like a Volkswagen. These aren't even the right vans. AI is so stupid. Why is AI so stupid? Why is that? Okay. All right. I'm going to try. I see Mike is suggesting that we go with the soccer crest as part of the description. I'm going to put soccer club crest for a club called Soccer Mom FC, featuring a minivan. I don't know how to spell that. Let's try it that way. Minivan and orange slices in the design. Let's try. Let's see what happens. Let's go. Come on, AI. Give us something good. Make something good for me. This is coming for all our jobs. You guys realize that, right? Like, I'm making fun of this. It's giving me nothing, but it's coming for all our jobs. And it's going to probably replace me in the next 5 years. It's absolutely going to replace me in the next 5 years. Okay, what we got? What's this? Whoops, that's not what I want to do. Let me try that again. Wow. I'm not sure what's happening here. That's a ball, vaguely. And there's something in the middle. I don't know what's happening. It says soccer mom, but it's misspelled. Only one C. At the bottom, it says Suker FFC. It says FC. Okay. I mean, again, the orange slices are supposed to be in here somewhere. I'm not sure about that. We got a minivan in this one. Okay, this one's at least got a minivan. And there's an orange slice in the front. It says soccer moom, but I'm gonna give AI a pass on that one. Like, this is the best so far, right? Are we agreed so far? There's two more to pop up here, but I think this is the best one so far. Okay. Yeah? Okay. I'm moving on. Let's see what we got. This one has it says soccer mom. It's correctly spelling soccer mom. And it's got orange slices. They're still melting and changing shape for some reason. The ball's in the middle of the... I mean, this is like a youth team's badge, for sure. There's a ball in the middle. Oh, okay. Now let's got one more. Again, AI is incapable of putting a correctly shaped soccer ball into anything. That's not... Okay. We could all do better than this. Right? We can do that. I know there's probably better tools than Canva's AI image generator, especially for logos. Like, I realize that. Again, I'm just having some fun here on a Thursday because my partner's not here to help me out. Any other topics, questions you guys want to throw out in the chat? Again, please support Morning Kick Around because that's the thing I'm trying to make work. And I really need you guys to share the information, share that exists so more people will listen and watch and all of those things. Any other business? Are there any other national team stories? I mean, we haven't talked about what happened last night in Columbus or Los Angeles. U.S. Open Cup, Campeones Cup, anybody? I know we got Columbus people, right? Real quick on the Columbus situation. So obviously they went to penalty kicks. Club America won via penalty kick shootout. Wilfred Nancy was upset about Malti Amundsen's penalty because it clanged off the crossbar, and it was pretty clear that Club America's goalkeeper came off the line. I mean, there were images. The problem is that the way the rules were written for that competition, it was the correct call not to retake the penalty. Which, why do we have different rules for applying the law that says the goalkeeper must stay on the line until the kick is taken? Like, why is it built into this that, first of all, it's ridiculous if you've already got subjective calls across the game. The game is entirely filled with subjective calls, and that makes it tough because with VAR, all we do is kick it up to some guy in a booth to make the same subjective call, maybe with a slightly better angle than the guy on the field. Don't get me started. But why would you put subjectivity into the rule book? Why would you build that in? If the goalkeeper coming off the line impacts the shot, how do you know either way? And certainly I could make the argument, like if I was going to lawyer this up, I would say, well, if Malti Amundsen or any penalty kick taker is waiting to see what movement the goalkeeper makes before he takes his shot, then the goalkeeper coming off his line is going to impact him. Right? I mean, I don't know if he can change direction in a split second, but that's the whole point, right? Is that the goalkeeper isn't supposed to get an advantage by closing down the angle or picking a direction to get ahead of a shot. Anyway, I'm not really mad for Columbus. I think this is probably true, by the way, from Jason, that Columbus should have taken care of business in regular time and never gone to penalty kicks. Would have been better. Would have been a better thing if you'd scored a second goal and not have to go on a penalty kick. Shouldn't have given up that. Well, I was going to say, shouldn't have given up the first goal. Shouldn't have given up the goal to Club America. But that goal is very indicative of what Wilfred Nancy wants to do with his team, which obviously causes on the defensive side of the ball an occasional problem. Because there were no Columbus players anywhere in the vicinity of the goal scorer when he receives the ball on his half of the field. Right? Because Columbus had pushed up, because they had sent players to that flank, obviously trying to create a chance, turn the ball over, comes back the other way, just completely out of shape. And again, that's a sacrifice that Wilfred Nancy is making. He is saying, I'm okay doing this because I think we can win games, even if we give up a goal occasionally from this, or a chance or whatever. And you hope, I got defenders who maybe can make a recovery run. I've got a goalkeeper who can maybe save a shot, come off a line. Didn't happen in that case. Obviously, Columbus loses. And then, of course, again, the Open Cup. LAFC beats Sporting 3-1. The first goal is the one that everybody's talking about. This is Clayton in our chat. I think SKC might have gotten screwed more. LAFC's first goal looked hella offside from every angle I saw. VAR in play in the U.S. Open Cup final, right? And this is the argument I would say holds the most water for me about why this VAR application is dodgy. Now, if you have semi-automated offside, if you've got the lines and the robots and I know it's not robots, but if you have whatever system is in place that is going to take the decision about offside out of a person's hands when it comes to a VAR review, fine. I think it's ridiculous that we're splitting the game up into the haves and have-nots that way. Oh, you better have, these leagues will have semi-automated offsides. These leagues won't. Only the highest levels are going to have them. It makes a very different game down the ladder of soccer. Whatever. That's just me. That's me being a purist. But if you're not going to have semi-automated offside, or you don't have it, and you're going to try to adjudicate offside through VAR review, Well, what the hell? You got an AR who's in a perfect position to make that call on Bogusz, right? Like he's in the perfect spot. If you go back and look at the images, when the pass is made, the AR is in line or very close to in line with Mateusz Bogusz. I find it difficult to believe that the AR did not see that as offside. Because if the AR didn't, they're bad at their job. Right? If Bogusz is offside, and is, as Clayton is saying, every angle shows, and the account on X that does like the analysis to figure out if something is offside using geometry, which I don't understand. They obviously that, they said it was offside too, hence a lot of people going with, it was offside by a foot. The AR is in a perfect position. If they didn't see the offside, if it was in an offside situation, they're bad at their job. But my guess is, I'm educated guess, that we again have a situation with an AR, and this is the thing we've all seen. An AR keeps the flag down when it's close. Lets the play out. Then if the goal happens, what do we know about how VAR is applied? Every goal is reviewed. Right? We've seen goals ruled out for a foul in the buildup. Right? We've obviously seen them ruled out for offside. But if you do not have perfect views of the moment the pass is made and the lines are not accurate, meaning, hey, we've got a camera right down that line where that player is, we can tell that this is accurate, right? Because, again, this is why we have the guy on X doing all the geometry, because it's really difficult to tell from a flat television image whether somebody is offside every single time. Onside, offside, whatever. I got to go reference this point and reference that point and triangulate. And then, it's ridiculous. It's complicated is what I'm saying. I don't understand. I can't do it. Good on that guy. The reason we need that guy is because it's tough from the flat image to tell. So unless you have multiple cameras giving you a bunch of different angles and somehow able to do the math and make sure, you're not going to be able to overrule the call in the field. Are you not going to be able to say we have enough evidence to say definitely offside when the goal was allowed to go on, when the play was allowed to continue and the goal is scored? So you have a logical issue here. You have an AR who's saying, got to keep my flag down. VAR is going to check that. I don't want to make a mistake. I don't want to I don't want to have the play whistle dead. Obviously the center referee can hold the whistle, but I think the ARs are absolutely going to be thinking, well, I also got to keep my flag down. Like it'd be lovely to think. It'd be lovely to think that the AR would allow the center referee to make the choice to let things go on or not. Now, again, we're also all from years and years and years, the history of this game, we're all conditioned to sort of stop when a flag goes up anyway. Right? Like, whoa, the flag went up. It's offside. Don't continue. So the only natural thing to do is to let the play continue, to let the goal be scored, or let the sequence continue to see if a goal is scored, and then to go back and say, well, we can fix it in post. We can fix it via VAR. But in this case, you couldn't, because they didn't have the angle to know for sure whether or not Bogusz was offside. That was a lot of words about one goal in an Open Cup final, but obviously LAFC went on to win the game. And Olivier Giroud scored. Very good-looking man scored a goal, his first for LAFC, right? And Kai Kamara, too. Kai Kamara, 40 years. That man is 40 years old. He is 5 years younger than me. Whoever guessed that I would be 42 next week, thanks. Appreciate it. He gave me 3 extra years. Yeah, I'm 45 on October 3rd. So happy early birthday to me. I'm not sure. Again, Jared working tonight. I'm not sure I'll be available on my birthday to do a Best Soccer show. So it's possible we won't be here next week, but we'll see. I would love to see Jared do an hour by himself. That would be great. Would you guys be up for that? The Rodius here doing an hour.
Jay Rodius.
Okay, business before I get out of here, because I've done an hour and I think that's plenty. Everybody vote for Morgan tomorrow when the poll goes up for the best NWSL, MLS, whatever photographer. Best soccer photographer, period. Everybody go on X. Who is it? Fabian Renkel, right? Fabian Renkel. Everybody go vote in Fabian Renkel's polls on the Twitter machine so that Morgan can win the best photographer in American soccer, because she absolutely does. First of all, she's an excellent photographer. Also, she's our friend. Shout out to Morgs. Is she still here? She go away? I saw her earlier. Morgan. No, I don't know if she's still here, but shout out to Morgan. I mentioned Morning Kick Around like 12 times. I'm going to keep doing that. I really want to make this thing work, so please go subscribe to Morning Kick Around on YouTube. Tomorrow, 9:30 a.m., our next show. Plenty to talk about, as always. And for anybody who's wondering, first of all, some of you remember Soccer Morning, which this is kind of trying to recapture some of that, because I enjoyed doing Soccer Morning back in the day, and I haven't done a live morning show in a while, and certainly nothing. And now, so there's two things happening. One, it's sort of coming back to my Soccer Morning roots. Number two, because on the WNBC show, WNBC, the show I do with Eric Winalda, American soccer legend, because that show is very European focused, Premier League, Champions League, all that stuff. There are lots of American soccer stories I don't get the chance to talk about on a regular basis, and I would like to do that. I would like to talk more American soccer. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna talk Open Cup. We're gonna talk about lower leagues in America. There's a couple of things. Let me do a quick salesman job on Morning Kick Around for you. Okay, so we're gonna hit some big headlines. That's one segment of the show. We're also gonna take one of those segments, one of those headlines rather, and kind of expand on it. We did that with the Open Cup on Wednesday. So it was talking about the Open Cup final Wednesday night, but then also talking about whether or not MLS has killed the Open Cup with their choices this year, threatening to pull out, only putting 8 teams into the competition, all of those things. And then recently, the first 2 shows that we've ever done, the third segment is basically a culture question. Call it Culture Wars because it's funny to me, but it's kind of a big culture question. We asked if whether or not the American influence in England would bring a salary cap first, or if we would get a pro-rel situation in the United States first. So that was a big question that we talked about on Monday. And then on Wednesday's show, yesterday's show, some of you may have seen the TIFO that the NYCFC fans unveiled with the Barbie theme, Don't Be Plastic, basically calling out Inter Miami fans for not showing up until Lionel Messi arrived. That sparked a question about the plastic nature of American soccer. Just how plastic are we? Are we plastic? Is there any way for us not to be plastic? What does plastic mean anyway? That kind of stuff. So it's got a little bit of everything. I think it's a good show. I think it has potential. It's much better if more of you are listening and watching live if you can do that. So again, and a lot of you guys are WFH, right? Some of you probably have to go places, but a lot of you are WFH. Go ahead and put us on a second screen. Just bump the numbers. Morning Kick Around. YouTube. Please do that. Thank you very much. I've mentioned the Patreon a couple times already for the Best Soccer Show. That is the best way to support the show. Patreon.com/thebestsoccershow. You get access to the Bestie Slack. You get bonus shows. There is a whole back catalog of bonus shows, and I think I even have realized that some of those video bonus shows from the past didn't get posted to Patreon the way they should have. I think I missed a couple. So I'm going to go back and put those on the bonus feed, so you'll be able to get those too, which a lot of them have Nikki Soup and Sausage, which... It was there for. That's Clint Dempsey. That's not Nikki Soup and Sausage. What did I mean, this one?
The Sausage King of Chicago.
That's the one I meant. Shout out to Nick. Not here this week, was here last week. Nikki Soup and Sausage, a lot of Morgan Tensa as well. Fun stuff with me and Jared kicking it sometimes. Man, what else? Anything else? Any other business people? I mean, any other things I should mention? No. You guys are done? All right. That's going to do it then. Thank you very much for watching this solo episode of the Best Soccer Show. I've done thousands of hours of radio, both by myself and as a co-host on a show. I've talked a lot. I've done a lot of hosting by myself, and yet for some reason, this one has made me incredibly nervous. So, yeah, make fun of me if you want to, but thank you for being here and helping me get through this. Let's get through this together. Thank you for helping me get through this together. We did it. We did it, everybody. Okay, bye.
Michael freaking Oscar Pascal.
Get to the chopper!
I think I'm starting to like Cincinnati.
We are at DEFCON 1.
DEFCON 1?
Oh, it's incredible!
Who asked those questions?
What are we doing?
I think I'm starting to like Cincinnati.
Can I get a manager? Can I please get a manager?
It was there
Oh,
for.
here we go. Saucing them up. Hit him. Wet.
WNBC. WNBC.
Calm down, Greg. It's soccer. It's soccer.
Jay Rodius.